Today, I want to share with you how I've used the 4 factors to gain insight into my varying success levels of one of my own personal goals, because I think it will help you see how moving through these factors all on a single kind of page, so to speak, could help you gain a lot of insight that you could use to become more sustainable and successful in the goals that you set for yourself. A goal I have is to meditate 2 times a day. This goal isn't just a tactic. It didn't just come out of something I thought it was good to do. It actually came out of some work I did inspired by Danielle Laporte, where she said, instead of setting goals about what you want to do, think about how you want to feel at the end of the day, and then what you would need to do during the day to end up feeling that way in the evening. I thought this was genius. Don't just focus on the things you want to do because you think they're good for you. Really get in touch with how you want to feel at the end of the day, and then identify those things that you need to be doing in order to attain that state of feeling. So, one of the ways that I want to feel at the end of the day is clear and centered. When I sit down to write, or when I am with my family, or even at the beginning of the day when I head into work, I want to be clear and centered. Now, one of the techniques I have found that helps me be very clear and centered is transcendental meditation. I am a believer, I am a personal believer, because I've experienced the amazing difference a single session of TM can do for me, and it takes 20 minutes 2 times a day. So I set out at the beginning of the year to make sure that I meditate 2 times a day. It aligned with how I wanted to feel. It is a proven technique for me. And whenever I do it, I'm so grateful that I did. I have so much innovation and energy and breakthrough. It is magical for me. So lo and behold, I start and I commit to meditating twice a day. What I didn't realize is how conditional my commitment was. What I found out by self-reflecting on the times I didn't meditate is that I had a lot of conditions. I would do it as long as I wasn't hurried in the morning, as long as I wasn't traveling, as long as I didn't go to sleep the night before late, which meant I didn't want to get up that early. I would do it as long as it was good. In fact, there were times I would start to meditate and it wouldn't be that good. And so I would quit doing it or start over or not count it as a meditation session. Do you hear all the mind games going on with me? I would do it, except it was conditional on I needed to have gotten a break at 4 o'clock and not eaten before, because there is a suggestion that you do it before you eat, not after you eat. Click, 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 click. I had no idea, packed inside my head with this commitment were 1,000 ways out, 1,000 excuses that I didn't even realize about myself. I said I was committed, but my commitment was so conditional. Buy-in is a choice, and it's a choice to be bought in and do what it takes, no matter what the circumstances are. So that was interesting. I learned that about myself. Second thing, when it came to resilience, I started to focus on why I couldn't rather than how I could. And it was interesting. I just wasn't able to stick with my meditation. And I had some sense of where I was getting held up. So being resilient, I reached out to the network. I asked other folks who were successful in maintaining a meditation practice their best suggestions. I went to some teachers and I asked their best suggestions. I got a list of things that actually killed some of my conditions that I had on my commitment. One of the things that I was given was the gift that said you can meditate on the plane. See, I often thought if I was flying out and too busy and traveling and I wasn't in a room by myself that was perfectly quiet, oh bummer, can't meditate. But a teacher shared with me, of course you can. You can meditate anywhere, any place. I often worried if I had lunch that I couldn't meditate afterwards because I had just eaten. I said, no, that's just a suggestion, not a hard, fast rule. See, when I went out to the network, I started to overcome some of my conditions by loosening it up, and I started to realize some things, and that got me to ownership. And ownership was this: I did what design thinkers would tell you never to do. Don't use reality and define it as a problem. accept reality, and then succeed anyway. And here's what I mean by that. If I want to be an artist, and I identify that the problem with wanting to be an artist is I won't make that much money, then my goal of becoming an artist is shot out of the water. I can't change what artists are paid. But see, the fact that artists aren't always paid a living wage, at least in the beginning, is not the problem. That's just the reality. Now, to focus on the reality and living within it rather than focusing on the problem I defined, I won't try and pick another career so I can make more money. I will try and find ways to live on less so that I can do what I love, which is art. I had been doing this with meditation. I had thought the problem was my busy travel schedule, when in fact that's just my reality. And I was trying to solve for, I'll meditate when my schedule slows down, circumstances, and instead I solved for, how can I keep up a meditation practice while living a busy travel schedule? Very big difference, big breakthrough. That got me to continuous learning. Here's what I learned by talking to people. Some meditations stink. Some you don't feel anything. Some feel like a waste of time. My teacher says they still work. Some I got interrupted in. Some meditations I cut short. Some I skipped. Some I fell off the bus for days at a time. It's not about doing this thing perfectly. It's about making sure that you do what we call favor the mantra. See, whenever you leave that mantra, you don't need to violently slap yourself back in place or give up entirely. You just gently say, I'm going to move from that distraction back to the mantra and favor it. I learned how gentle and simple that this thing can really be by following the 4 factors. This continuous learning helped me look at my commitment. Was I really committed? How many ways out had I pre-planned? My resilience, had I really used all the amazing people in my life that can help me stay on track? And was I really owning and correctly defining what my issue was? It was my not being willing to learn to live skillfully in a travel schedule. I instead wanted to blame my busy schedule on why I couldn't get it done. But most importantly, I learned from my dog trainer how to keep up with my meditation practice. See, learning comes in crazy ways. She helped me get my dog to do 3 things. Come, sit, stay. 3 things. That's all a dog needs to learn to do. Somebody knocks at the door, come, sit, stay. That's all you need. But as she was teaching my dog, I learned that I was the one who needed to also learn to come, sit, stay. Come, butt in chair 2 times a day, no expectations on how long it will last or how good it will be. Come and make time for it, create space for it. Sit, butt in chair, stay, regardless of what is going on. I have to do 3 things, come, sit, stay. Who would have called the dog trainer to help me with my New Year's resolution? Not me. But when you work the 4 factors, you have some major breakthroughs. It's all about self-reflection and self-learning. Any goal you set your mind to, you will be shown how to stay accountable to it if you come with an open mind and use your resources.